ShelterBox is an international disaster relief charity set up 8 years ago and operating out of a vast warehouse complex in Helston, Cornwall. From there, specially trained response teams have accompanied and distributed aid boxes in over 50 countries, responding to humanitarian needs arising from natural disasters and conflict. Taking advantage of the ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza conflict, ShelterBox immediately sent a coordinator to assess the situation in Gaza. Within 3 days of finding that 4,000 homes had been destroyed and estimating a further 20,000 seriously damaged, staff and volunteers back in Helston had assembled an initial planeload of supplies and equipment. The BBC and some other broadcasters have been reluctant to air the Disasters and Emergencies Committee's appeal, highlighting Gaza's urgent need for aid relief. Cornwall World Radio's Mike Dees brings you this exclusive interview with ShelterBox General Manager Lasse Peterson as the first shipment leaves Helston bound for the Middle East.
Lasse Peterson, General Manager here at ShelterBox, is overseeing the deployment of an aid shipment to Gaza. Lasse, what do you know about conditions on the ground there?
ShelterBox has its own response team on the ground, both in Gaza and Israel. The feedback we're getting from them is that all the NGOs are reporting a total of about 4,000 homes completely destroyed and some 20,000 homes are extremely badly damaged. So there's an estimated 50 to 100,000 people that have been left without adequate shelter and basic needs.
What's being shipped out this time?
Initially, we're sending out an aid consignment of 200 shelter boxes with enough to assist 2,000 people, providing family tents for 10 people, water purification, water containers, tools for rebuilding and blankets, basically to provide shelter, warmth and comfort for those that have had their homes destroyed. The main priority obviously initially is the safety and security of our team. Obviously there are a lot of hazards in the area, unexploded ordnances, but also then making sure that we can get a clear route to get aid from delivery points through to those desperately in need.
And are you getting a lot of cooperation from the Israeli government?
I would say the conditions are still very challenging because the borders are closed a fair amount of the time and there's still only a trickle of aid getting through at this stage. But aid is getting through and obviously we're all optimistic that the aid flow will increase over the next coming days.
I imagine schools got damaged, schools and colleges got damaged in the conflict, and I know ShelterBox has a program of providing equipment for young people or for schools. Is that something you're thinking about?
We do what we call a classroom in a box, which provides basic kit, pens, pencils, writing materials as a box that takes care of a classroom of 50 children, because often, as you say, it's not just homes that are destroyed, it's all sorts of other infrastructure. Our initial focus is just providing for the immediate shelter needs, so that's the first 200 boxes that go out. Once the aid channel is proven and we're getting all our stuff in without undue problems, then we'll be sending out follow-up shipments, and some of those could include school boxes.
I know ShelterBox doesn't receive government aid for its campaign, so what more do you need? How can our global listeners help?
All support for ShelterBox really comes from the public and clubs around the world. 92 pence of every pound donated to ShelterBox goes directly into the aid package, and then the cost of its delivery, only a minimum amount spent on overheads. And if people wish to support ShelterBox, then they could look at our website, www.shelterbox.org.
Lasse, thank you very much for making the time to talk with us. I know you're heading off to Egypt in a few hours to begin negotiations to get this shipment in.
Thanks very much, Mike.
This is Mike Dees, and you have been listening to a Window on the World exclusive report for Cornwall World Radio.
Cornwall World Radio's special Gaza humanitarian aid feature was a Window on the World production. Brought to you by Mike Dees, the editor was Jane Swan, and the producer was Julian Rowe. To find out more about ShelterBox and how listeners can help support their campaigns, go to www.shelterbox.org.